أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم افتح علينا حكمتك وانشر علينا رحمتك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. O Lord, open the door of wisdom and mercy and shower your blessings upon us. Amen. وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Amin. So we are continuing on today with the 20th Flash on sincerity. We'll be proceeding with the fourth cause. So Miriam and Rayan, whenever you're ready, the microphone is yours. Thank you.
Okay. Fourth cause. In just the same way that rivalry and disagreement among the people of guidance do not arise from failure to foresee consequences or from short-sightedness, so too wholehearted agreements among the people of misguidance does not result from farsightedness or loftiness of vision. Rather, the people of guidance, through the influence of truth and reality, do not succumb to the blind emotions of the soul, and follow instead the far-sighted inclinations of the heart and the intellect. Since, however, they fail to preserve their sense of direction and their sincerity, they are they are unable to maintain their high station and fall into dispute.
As for the people of misguidance, under the influence of the soul and caprice, and the dominance of sense perception, which is blind to all consequences and always prefers an ounce of immediate pleasure to a ton of future pleasure, they come together in eager concord for the sake of instant benefit and immediate pleasure. Indeed, lowly and heartless worshippers of the ego are bound to congregate around worldly and immediate pleasures and benefits. It is true that the people of guidance have set their faces to the rewards of the hereafter and its perfections in accordance with the lofty instructions of the heart and the intellect. But even though a proper sense of direction, a complete sincerity, and self-sacrificing union and concord are possible, because they have failed to rid themselves of egoism, and on account of deficiency and excess, they lose their union, that lofty source of power, and permit their sincerity to be shattered. Their duty in regard to the hereafter is also harmed. God's pleasure is not had easily.
The cure and remedy for this serious disease is to be proud of the company of all those traveling the path of truth, in accordance with the principle of love for God's sake, to follow them and defer leadership to them, and to consider whoever is walking on God's path to probably better than oneself, thereby breaking the ego and regaining sincerity. Salvation is also to be had from that disease, by knowing that an ounce of deeds performed in sincerity is preferable to a ton performed without sincerity, and by preferring the status of a follower to that of a leader, with all the danger and responsibility that involves. Thus, insincerity is to be had, and one's duties of preparation for the hereafter may be correctly performed.
And that is the end to the fourth cause. Thank you, both Miriam and Rayan, for reading this text for us. We're talking about sincerity. Don't know which part is it, but we pretty much started off trying to make sense of the verse which the treatise start with. Just pull up again so we can all refresh a little bit. So the verse was really Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Verily we sent down the book down we send the book down to you in truth. So worship God in sincerity, for God's is sincerely practice religion. So it's a verse from Quran chapter 39 and 2, really speaking to the addressee, you and I, about what does it mean to worship that which we conclude to be the creator of the universe. How can I be sincere in my acknowledgement of the source of existence? And what does it mean to really do any act with sincerity, really being genuine to my conclusions also, and in general when I interact with creation. And it's actually a very, very important verse now that the more we ponder over it, we've been discussing over it in terms of, the author presenting us different causes about where can we go into error, how can we fall into mistakes, and, the rule of thumb is once I identify where my error is or my mistake, then I should rectify my actions accordingly, because that will be the way to learn and grow and maintain my sincere relationship with the source of my existence. So the whole point here is really to maintain my personal relationship with the source of my existence, because that comes first and foremost. I know we talked about how many ideas there are out there, people sharing in different worldviews, or even within one specific worldview of, hey, guess what? The universe must have a creator. We all have our little nuances or differences in how we go on practicing this. And so really what should matter at the end of the day, what should I deem significant and what should I deem insignificant, and how can I really resolve this resolution, what is it, the conflict thing within myself. So pretty much I think we all can apply the case for ourselves here in terms of, how sincere is my relationship with the source of my existence. And that's just really a brief summary of this flash that the author is presenting to us. Now, before we just dive into this fourth cause, is there anyone who wants to say something, a brief takeaway from previously, or has a question in general, or anything they want to add to what was said? Feel free to raise your hand. Yep, go ahead, please. Here we go.
Yeah, so from the last discussion we had, I know Mariam and Rian made some comments about, we spoke about the sentient beings in the previous cause that we read about the angels topic we discussed a little bit on that. So when you do something nice, I remember Mariam's comment on that, that everything and everything along whoever's hearing it also is pleased with that. So the universe also is pleased when I as a human being am doing something that is pleasing and something that is in concord or within the way I am supposed to be as a human being, the way I should behave in a good way, which is realizing that everything is coming from the Lord of the universe. So there was some principles that we went through. We touched upon a few things on how to attain what kind of reward that we should go for. That was one of the themes that we discussed, and the principle was that in sincerity, I should only look for my reward is only with God alone. And there was this concept of that, absolute truth versus the relative. Truth. So basically my individual as a being. So I was asking your relationship with your Lord, how is that? So I have to worry about that, though that should be my primary concern. What is my relationship with my Lord? Right? So, and then we are discussing how do we keep this concord or unity between the people who are upholding this truth that there is a Lord in the universe who is taking care of us, and how, the whole system, how we need to behave, and how our attitude needs to be when we are engaging with each other. We are discussing things amongst each other. How do we share the ideas in a good and pleasant way, rather than, in a more aggressive kind of causing discordance amongst each other, or in a very nasty kind of way? How do we avoid that kind of attitude and keep a more harmonious and good working way of sharing ideas? So one of the questions that was under discussion was, how come, with the people who have a view that there is, the unbelieving kind of view, versus though they are working, or secular, without any God in the picture, that there is no God or source of existence, and they are working in a very pleasant way, they have no issues. But the ones who are actually are the students of the Quran, who are like trying to get to the truth and understand that they are, under the ownership of the Lord of the universe, and they are trying to obey how he wants human beings to be. So that's how, as a human being, I have to be, basically, with that realizing that I have a Lord and he wants me to be in a particular way, so that I am fulfilling what I am here for in this world. So this is just some takeaways, I would say.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you. Any takeaways really help clarify the concept, or really warms us up into the subjects. Anyone else, if you want to share out, your brief takeaways, that would be good for everybody. We'll give in a couple of seconds if something comes up. And I remember, just to add on to what Asim shared, the main question that was asked, what is this reward that everybody's running after? Like, how can we define it? So we sort of redefine, well, what do we understand from reward? And I'm just going to put it in some other words. It's really when we learn and understand something that pertains to our existence, this feeling of pleasure that we feel within ourselves, where we recognize and acknowledge the source of our existence. So it's as if we're really, ideally trying to be in the presence of the creator of the universe, but that was the whole point, like this feeling of pleasure that is imparted onto us. So that's really the reward. So we can understand reward as such. And if anyone else has a better definition of it, or the way they understood it, feel free to share it out as well. Yeah, I'm gonna wait. If not, then let's move on with this fourth cause, inshallah. So, okay, so what is being said here is that, like how the author started off with people of the truth and people of neglect. It's really my worldview when I am perceiving things just with a horizontal worldview, or if I'm perceiving things by connecting it to a source of existence. So he's mentioning here that rivalry and disagreement always arise, but then we're trying to figure out like why, what, like we're trying to really work on ourselves in terms of whatever is out there and how things are presented to us. So it's saying that rivalry and disagreement among the people of guidance do not arise from failure to foresee consequences or from short-sightedness. As in, I think to me, it seems that it's being connected to the reward side of things. We all know that we want to work on our relationship with the source of our existence. So it's saying that rather the people of guidance through the influence of truth and reality do not succumb to blind emotions and the soul. So by now, as part of the people of truth, or as trying to enhance my relationship with my creator, I'm able to identify all these strong emotions that gets played in with the ego, or the ego feeds off of all these different emotions that come up across us. So the author really saying that that's not the reason why that there are disagreement, but the reason being that the people of guidance, they fail to preserve their sense of direction and their sincerity. They are unable to maintain their high station and fall into dispute. So I think that's a good thing to look into right now. Like, what can the author possibly mean by and not being able to maintain my high station, or I'm not able to preserve the sense of direction, and i.e. which becomes sincerity. So if I have curbed, or if I have worked out the ego, if I'm able to identify it, then what else is going on? What else is at play here? So I'm really thinking out loud here with all of you. So if anyone has any comments on that, go ahead, please. I see.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, so we need to understand what the short-sighted and farsightedness that is being presented here. So what is being short-sighted? So that would be the immediate kind of benefit, and farsighted means there's a meaning to it, that you understand that there's a purpose in that whatever action that you're doing, right? So that understanding is there among the people of guidance or the students of the Quran, but it seems that there is a problem even with that knowledge, like even with that understanding that I belong to a Lord, and I have to watch out for my actions. Whatever I'm doing, it's being created by the owner of the universe. I'm not the one who is creating any of my actions. But still, there is this sense of direction that the author says is, I guess that's the more of a, while we are living in this world, maybe something happens to the human beings, like in terms of whatever they're doing, that they lose their track, although they know about it, that hey, they have a far-sighted goal, that they understand that they are people who want to be in peace and in paradise, if I may say. But while they're living, they might lose track of that notion, that what their purpose in existence is. And I think Suhail has his hand up, so Suhail, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, similar to what you had said, short-sighted, is literally that. It is short, or it looks only to this world, to this plane. Whereas can you hear me? I'm not sure if my mic is.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So, short-sighted looks specifically to this world, whereas far as you mentioned, understands what things mean and looks beyond that, or it looks to another reality or source, So it's like if somebody gives you a gift and you take the gift and you just take it for what it is, you don't really think about what the gift means or um, does it convey something from the one giving you the gift, but just take it and use it and don't think much of the one giving the gift. That's being short-sighted. Whereas somebody who's far-sighted would take the gift and realize that's conveying something, some message from the one giving the gift. So the gift really isn't what's important. It's the message being conveyed from that person giving the gift. Where and maybe the way in which you want to respond by being farsighted to respond to the one giving you the gift is by, let's say, thanking them or showing appreciation, recognition. That would be farsighted. But maybe there's disagreement on how best to show thanks and gratitude. And maybe so the goal is the same, is what he's saying, I think. The objective is the same, but how one does it may differ. So maybe I think thanking the person giving the gift is done best in this way. Somebody may say it's done best in another way, or maybe there are other ways to do it. But the recognition is there that the gift isn't what's important necessarily, but how one responds to being given that gift.
Jazakallah khair. That was a very good point, actually. So really, the crux of the matter is me recognizing the meaning that anything is conveying to me, and then acknowledging the source of existence of it. But the rest, how I do it, becomes insignificant, should become insignificant. I shouldn't lose myself in that. Otherwise, that should definitely give rise to disagreement or discordance and dispute as well, because again, the ego will come into play that no, this is how you do it. So alhamdulillah, that was helpful.
Yeah, the example helped. Like, just if I get the gift, just going after whatever is the gift and not recognizing who the giver of the gift is and what qualities that giver of the gift kind of telling me by giving me the gift, that he likes me or she likes me, whoever's giving me the gift, and cares about me, is concerned about me. So all that, in that action of giving the gift, there's a lot of message that a human being can read. So I really enjoyed that example. So that is what looking far-sighted, I would say, and the short-sighted would be, hey, just taking the gift and just using it and just enjoying with that gift and not even thinking about, well, there's some care, there's some attention I was given by whoever gives me that gift. Beautiful. So, alhamdulillah. So
there is a comment from Brother Adam.
Sure.
So Brother Adam, would you please unmute yourself and say out your comment?
Yeah, thank you. Sure. The comment is regarding this section, this part in the text. As for the people of misguidance under the influence of the soul and caprice, and the dominance of the dominance of sense perception. What is this sense perception referring to? And I think the text goes on, but the sense perception, dominance of sense perception. What does it mean to have a dominance of sense perception? Is my question.
Good question. Anyone? Ali Marmer, go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Brother Ali, you are
Muted.
muted.
It is one of the key ideas in the text, in this text particularly, dominance of self-perception. I am thinking about it to understand. I have been thinking about to understand the word direction. We have been discussing about sincerity, but here there is another word, the direction, that the people of guidance forgot and ignored the direction. What does it mean? I could only make sense of it in terms of a simple example. If, for example, there is a person A has in his mind that he will go from one city to another, and for a very good purpose. He knows that he is going there in order to convey the truth. Now, in order to convey the truth to a person who needs it. Or let's make it a simple example. There is an ill person in another city, or his mother, let's say, mother is ill. He wants to reach the place as soon as possible and help her because she needs him. Now, it's a very lofty aim, but while he is driving, he doesn't take notice of the traffic rules. He crosses the streets with, for example, when the light is red, and he makes turning without giving the signals, right or left. And he doesn't take notice of the roads because he is lost in his in his own aim. His own aim. He is lost in his own aim. I am going to do something good, so I have to go fast, and I have to really do what remains on me. It's necessary. The consequences, I know that it's the best. So he hurries, but doesn't think of the others, doesn't think of the means that he has to follow in order to reach the right, true aim. So this is self-concentration. It is an dominance of self-perception. What I am doing is the best, but this is not the right example, because the text is giving this example for people of misguidance. But I'm trying to understand the direction. I'll come to this point. The direction. Now, if I have a high objective, which is really true, to gain the pleasure of God, in the example, I want to do what I need to do. Definitely my mother needs me. I have to hurry, but I have to think of how the way I am taking, what I am doing while I am trying to help my mother, or my aim is this, on the same direction, on the same way. The example, my aim is to gain God's pleasure. Yeah, but are you doing it in the right way? As Asam said earlier, are you following the right track? Are you really doing the right means, using the right means to do that? So if someone has a right option, seeing that the consequence of my action, because I'm going to help my mother, is excellent. It is what I need to do. I am going to gain God's pleasure. Of course, this is perfect. This is not wrong. This is nothing wrong with it, but we have to perform it in the right way. We have to follow the right direction. That is sincerity, because sincerity doesn't mean that to have an high objectives, sacred objectives. Sincerity means to follow the right path, right direction in order to reach the right purpose. Both of them must work together. For example, I know, I feel that I have the truth here and I must express it. I must share it with my friends. I am excited about it because when I pass the right idea, correct idea to my friends here, they will benefit from it. I'm very excited. What I do while one of you is speaking, just I jump into the discussion, interrupt the friend and say that, look, this is the truth I have to tell. I don't think of, if I don't think of the feelings of the other people, if I don't really take notice of the principles of this room without, for example, without asking from the moderator for permission, just speaking without paying attention to the feelings of the other people, without thinking of their level of understanding, if I just present it according to my understanding, low or high, doesn't matter, according to my capacity and within my understanding, without knowing or taking notice of the audience's position, is not following the direction. If it is the case for the people of guidance, it means the students of the Quran, if they want to reach the aim, in the example of going to another city to help your mother, I have to have this idea that is correct, this aim that is correct, but I have to follow the rules of the traffic rights of the other drivers. I have no right to prevent other people, cause accidents because I have a right purpose, and damage other people's property, infringe other people's rights. So it must work together. This is for the people of truth, as I understand. But specific example, for Adam's question, people of misguidance are so much concentrated their purpose for the immediate means, which is obtaining the pleasure of this world. What do? They follow the traffic, yes. They stop and respect other people's right, but they don't know where they are going. They have no future. They are not farsighted. They don't think of the consequence of this following the rules of the traffic. Why do you do that? Because I'm respecting the rights of the people. But why are you in the traffic? Because I'm going. Where are you going? I don't know. I just obey the law. I just want to get the pleasure of respecting people, for example. Just an example. As Suhail gave the example, yeah, this is the gift, I'm taking it. That's it. Or what is the gift? Let's say it's a box of chocolate. All right, people usually give it to each other, chocolate. So, oh, I love chocolate, take it. But why do you take it? Why is it given to you? Because they don't see, they are not farsighted. They don't see the future. They don't see the future, what the consequences are going to be. So they are very, very careful about the objects that bring them immediate pleasure, but they don't know where they are going. What is the consequence of this event? They say, oh, no, I'm in the traffic, I'm driving. And so I'm very respectful to people's right, and it makes me feel very comfortable, and I take pleasure from it. Correct, but where are you going? No, I don't know. So people of misguidance concentrate on the immediate pleasure, as the text says. So they are only following the immediate pleasure of the soul or of the caprice. So they are under the dominance of the self-perception. Why? Because they are only interested in their individual benefit. That's why they can unite easily. They can unite easily. Because if I want to, for example, have something for an immediate pleasure, if someone comes to me, regardless of who he is, doesn't matter, to help me to gain my immediate pleasure, I will accept it. But if I
Oh, we don't hear you. Is it just me? Okay, so Brother Ali, we can't hear you. So you were, yeah, now we can hear you. So the last thing you said was that people of misguidance, they're not looking for, they just want immediate pleasure. So.
Yeah, thank you very much. So what do they do now? They really follow the rules of behavior, rules of the order of the universe perfectly. But they don't see why they are following the rules of the order of the universe. They don't see it because they don't think the future, because for them future is dead. There is no future. They want to get their immediate pleasure. Of course, in order to be successful in one's immediate pleasure, they concentrate on their immediate obedience of the rules of this universe. But if somebody's objection is beyond the universe, it is transcending the limits of the universe, then if they are not really consistent in their objectives, it means they are not sincere. They may not follow the rules of the universe. That is why they fail, not because they are not farsighted, just because they are not sincere, because sincerity requires that the direction must be according to the order of the universe. For example, taking care of the other people, not claiming that I am the owner of the truth, and not claiming that I am the guardian of the truth, which is I hold, and this is the only truth. We studied this before. So I have to really protect it. And while I am protecting it, I may hurt other people's feelings. I may not take notice of the rules of the traffic. No. Because my aim is the best aim and the only aim. I have to fulfill it. The rest doesn't matter. I think this is an important matter for us to take notice of, because everybody thinks that I have the truth somehow. Now this is what I know, and this is the way I follow, and this is the truth. Okay, for example, let's say I am reading a book, and this book really benefits me a lot, and I advise this book to everyone. Why? Because it gave me the benefit, and I want to be helpful to the people, but I have to follow the rule of the order of the universe, because the order of the universe says, think about the other person, whether he is interested in this subject, he feels the need for it, and how are you going to present it, rather than just giving the book you loved best and you believe that it is truthful to the person and putting it in his pocket, and he will feel so stretched and throw the pocket into the dustbin immediately. So this is wrong, although I want to gain God's pleasure to convey the truth to the people, but I am not following his order. Sincerity requires two of the things at the same time. Object must be true, and means to obtain the object must also be true, correct, according to will of the creator. The order of the universe is will of the creator. And asking the people to reach him, the creator, is also will of the creator, purpose of our existence. Both of them must work hand in hand. Thank you. That's what my takeaway is. Oh, sorry, sir, I made a mistake.
Mashallah, beautiful takeaway. A lot to be extracted from it. My main takeaway from it, what you said was, so sincerity means to follow the right direction in order to reach a name. So in order to reach the goal, but I need to follow the right directions as far as following the order in creation is concerned. Which is interesting because I think earlier somebody shared a little picture with me about two friends setting out on a journey, and then one of them asked what's important, the journey or the destination? And the other friend says the company. And so it's interesting how like the journey is really what matters. Like, so I was discussing that with that friend. So the journey is what matters. And then they're like, oh, with good company, let's just, and then, we're aiming for the direction. So just wanted to share that little connection. Is there anyone else who wants to say something or has a comment or question? And I'm just going to read what Sohail said about answering Brother Adam's question in terms of specifically sense of perception means ignoring meaning and concerned about material reality. So as in not being able to connect everything to whatever is beyond the existence of this universe, or just like Brother Ali was saying, just focusing on the direction, on the target or the aim, and neglecting more or less the how do you get from point A to point Z. There are a bunch of others means that we need to tackle, as in following the order in the universe. Okay, any other comments from anyone? Do you want to say something? Oh, Adam, go ahead, please.
Yeah, it's good analysis, and I found it really helpful to understand this text better now. If I understand correctly, then the issue is of sincerity and direction. So there's many things: direction, sincerity, sense perception. These are all issues that are seemingly connected to this topic. Well, let's take maybe the issue of sincerity. So the people of guidance are not faulted for their lofty or their vision. They have a good vision from was said, they have the vision, but because of their lacking sincerity in their execution of their work, they trespass on the issues of unity and other issues, like the example of the driver trespassing the rules of the road. So sincerity, lack of sincerity shows this. One of the questions came to my mind is about sincerity. Seemingly, the way that sincerity describes seems to be kind of lacking also some kind of wisdom approach. Because even there's examples, if you want to share a book with someone, don't force it on them. Be careful, look at their level or context or something, present it in a way that makes sense for them. These seem to be the qualities of someone who's wise or knows how wise about this. So, but the sincerity issue is that the person, out of lacking sincerity, doesn't really look in all dimensions or really take it seriously upon himself to be thorough maybe in his work because of insincerity. So just rushing into the work without having a kind of deep sincerity to be certain, do the diligence of the work that's required, something like this. And also the sense perception. Yeah, so I'll just actually first stop there. That's how I understood it. Because not following the right path is also not wise. But how is it sincerity issue? Unless, or is it like what I'm describing? So it's not a kind of really thorough work, but aiming at the right thing. Yeah, and maybe I'll just say. So the point of this text is that not to say that the aim of the people of guidance is wrong, but they need to really tighten up their sincerity and really become more and more sharp on their being thorough with their work, and in particular in this case giving some practical examples. Is this correct?
Yeah, it makes sense to me based on the example, for example, the driving example that Brother Lee used. In your life journey, you go through certain actions and obstacles in your journey, and then you face situations. So recognition and cognition, your human qualities, your consciousness is at play here. I would say it's important to keep that. I mean, going back to just not knowing where you're going, that's one thing. But if you know where you're going, and if you're, bypassing all the, the red lights, and you're just ignoring the rights of other individuals and just to get to your place, I mean, is that considered a nice and safe way of doing things, or acceptable to whoever the administrator of the city or town is, looking at this driver who's just, has to get to a place but just ignores all the rules? So recognition of the rules of as the order in the universe and who the administrator is, I think is important. It plays into that. So sincere, as it says, is your relationship with your source of existence, with your Lord, is there, even though if I'm trying to share, let's say, as you gave the example, I think it's important. Like if you're sharing some ideas from a book and you're saying, hey, but you got to look at the the level of your audience and see if they are able to digest this kind of message. So that is important along with that, because you're paying attention to how the order is, and in recognition of the other individuals as well. So that's what I would add to it. But if anybody else would like to add to it, Brother Adam, go ahead.
Sorry, my hand was up from before, but I'll just say it's interesting. The solution is not just get better at sense perception. You know, like the solution in the last paragraph or whatever, I didn't read it, I have to look at it again, but it's like just let the people of guidance get really better in their sense perceptions because they already have the right direction. Is that, if you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that doesn't seem to be the solution, but yeah, I'm just making this point to say sense perception, that would be an easy fix, but that's not the fix.
Yeah, I hear you that you're saying the word sense perception. So if Brother Ali, please go ahead.
Yeah, I have been thinking about this direction. I checked the original language. It says istiqamet. Istiqamet that everybody is familiar with when they read this chapter of Surah Fatiha. Ihtinas sirat al-mustaqim, the same word. I mean, mustaqim, which is made istiqamah. Something is made on istiqamah. Istiqamah is right direction. Of course, while we are reading the Fatiha, anytime, but especially in our prayers, it means I am in front, I am in the presence of you, oh my Lord, oh my God, okay? But in order to reach you, I need to follow the right path. That's why it is translated as please guide us to the right path. Here the word is used, although the original word is the same, direction. It means right path. Right path means you have to have the right object, but you have to follow, or I need to follow the right path. Now, after having believed in God, that is okay. And trying to follow what God asked you to do, that is also correct. But what is important for us, how to get there in this world, right path. Well, I have to think about the right path. I shouldn't lose myself in the exalted target that I am trying to get at. But I have to follow the right path. Of course, in this example, in this particular example of the chapter of Fatiha, right path goes through the teachings of the Prophet. Now, this is called Sunnah, Sunnatul Rasulullah. So, Sunnatul Rasulullah says how you get to the target and how to reach there. I have been trying this, and my God educated me, trained me in this way. You have to follow my path. It means I have to follow the right guide in order to reach the right target. The sincerity lies here because sincerity requires two objects, as is earlier mentioned. Target must be right, but what is also after having the right target, what is also the most important is to follow the right path to reach the right guidance, the right target. That is why the cause of dispute, discordance among the people of the Quran or people of truth, they are, if you like, obsessed by the right target, but they didn't follow what the target requires them of to do while while living in this world, because I am living in a world which has its own principles as well, its own order. So this order is also established by the creator of the universe. Within this order, I have to follow the order. I have to follow the physical order of the universe, but at the same time, I should never forget the other people's feelings, other people's considerations. I have to take notice of my environment. It means the people around me and the means I'm going to use. The sincerity mainly depends on following the right path. I think this text, particular text that we read today, fourth cause, this text particularly emphasizes on following the right path, because these people of guidance, they are already in guidance. It means they have the right target. The problem is, since they have the right targets, what do they keep? Why do they keep disputing among themselves, causing discordance between themselves? Why do they do that? Because the most important part is neglected, which is following the right path, where the sincerity lies within the order of this universe. I have to follow the order of this universe. Of course, the best order of the universe, how to follow it, is exemplified by the prophet's practice. So it is not our subject, this following the prophet's practice here. First, this fourth cause is diagnosing the problem. Now, how are we going to solve it? We have to think about it. What can I gain sincerity in this sense? That is another subject. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Ali. Is there any other more comment, or anybody wants to share any ideas or thoughts? So as I look at the second paragraph, which Brother Adam was asking about the dominance of self-perception. So I think the author is kind of explaining that also in terms of the immediate benefit, as in the example Sohail gave about the gift and just using the gift without seeing the consequences and seeing of the others. So there's that blind to all consequences aspect, like you ignore even if it destroys the environment, and just for run my business, I don't care. I can dump chemicals into the rivers and I don't care about the environment. So that's something that is for my immediate benefit. So that is what the dominance of sense perception is, that that gratification, immediate instant gratification. Let me take advantage of it no matter what the consequences are. So that is the problem of the people of misguidance, because that sense of direction, as Brother Ali was pointing at, is lost. So along the way, that Siratul Mustaqim, that right way, gets distorted. So yeah, any other comment or any addition you want to add?
Yeah, this is interesting actually. I mean, mashallah, Brother Ali's comment was very enlightening, because we all know the aim and how do we get to that aim. So even the path, the right path, can be in the know, but everything else that goes on within the right path, as in I need a guide as well. So I think then even following the guide or the best practices to getting into the right path would be the right path to reach the target. I know it's not our subject, the whole best practices by the prophets, but I think that's what you were referring to, the Sirat al-Mustaqim, the straight path, the right path also refers to that.
Or according to the comment was made about the will of God, according to how our owner, if we understand that we have a Lord, what he's asking us, how he wants us to be, in terms of the directions and the guidelines should be available for us. You know, if I am given existence by him, I would expect that there should be guidelines for me in terms of how do I need to use my existence here in this world. So
that's the right path.
So recognizing that there's a guidelines for me in terms of how my existence has to be in my destination, how I'm in this journey of my life. That's how I understood it.
So the right path is really recognizing that those guidelines that are available for me as well. And I'm looking to follow those guidelines. That would constitute the right path.
That would include that, because it says people of guidance. So that means they have a guidance. Otherwise, without guidance, I could be lost. I need guidance to go in my direction, and rightly go in the right kind of sense of direction.
Good point.
Yeah, so that's we're thinking out loud here. And if anybody else wants to join in, add any comment, please raise your hands. We would love to hear your comments too. So since we have a few paragraphs left, so the next, also there's this, maybe if we can discuss what, there's in the middle of that paragraph. So it is true that the people of guidance have set their faces to the rewards of the hereafter and its perfections. And in accordance with the lofty, like high instructions of the heart and the intellect. So there is in accordance with the instructions of the human side, the consciousness and the reasoning, intellect, but even through a proper sense of direction. So even there's that
guide
sense of direction, that there's this right way. I have that sense. A complete sincerity and self-sacrificing and concord are possible. So it is possible to have concord, but there's a problem, right? Because human beings are fallible in some sense, right? They fail to rid themselves of egoism. So that's whatever that we understand, however we understand egoism.
It's like being selfish in terms of taking Brother Ali's analogy about I'm just following the order and I'm not just following the rules. I'm just
not looking at the consequences, just being concerned about
the target, and that's it. Everything else is just blank.
Right. And again, of course, there's, fail to rid themselves of egoism. And on account of deficiency and excess. So maybe we can ask our friends here how they understand this, getting rid of to fail to get rid themselves of egoism and on account of deficiency and excess. So that particular phrase.
What does it mean, account of deficiency and excess? Like I would understand, so excess part. So I was not able to get rid of the ego.
Deficiency in what and excess of what.
There we go. Thank you. So here you guys got the question. So let's see.
Let's dissect this phrase.
How do we understand this? So the question is, what do we understand from deficiency of what and excess of what? And what do we understand of failure to getting rid of egoism? So let me write this down. How can we understand failure to get rid of egoism, right? And then deficiency in what? What can the author mean by? And access in what? So yeah, and Hamim has highlighted that part of the text, so we would love to hear your contribution so we can make sense of that. So, maybe.
would anybody like to speak? Yeah, Adam, go ahead, please.
Sorry, yeah, I just hope it's okay. But you know, just know it's working, and I'm a little thinking about it. So the issue of the believing people or the people of guidance, they have the right goal, they have the understanding, lofty aims, which are correct, but because of their lack of sincerity, they may have some sincerity, but it's not, it's deficient. And because of this, then egoism has opened up on them, or they have themselves become prey to egoism, like the non-guidance people, non-believing people, as it's whatever it refers to them as, speaks about them with ego also, right? In the same paragraph. So the people of guidance, though, unfortunately, because of lack of sincerity, have resulted in them also now having a kind of ego issue and open up other issues. And they lost their union, their source of power, and there's whatever sincerity they have left, it got shattered for them. And because of this, even though their lofty aim of the hereafter is their aim, it's compromised or harmed, because it says God's pleasure is not had easily. It requires many or much effort, or let's say effort on many levels, not enough just to know about it. As I was thinking about this before, as people were speaking, I was thinking about the issue of in the world, the philosophies that seem to be the most effective are not the ones of religion. It's obvious, clear. You know, even me, you, all of us, I'm sure, are struggling regularly when we look to discern. You know, what's really the right way one should live, or who's really effective, or what ideas are really effective. How come the people who apparently are of misguidance are very effective, successful in their education and in their work life and so on, and their models of work are ones that should be adopted? We mostly are adopting their models of work for why and what we are doing, because it is effective, apparently effective. And many times we see the religious ideas and the models being presented there, and we say, no, we don't find it effective, or people criticize them. But the aim of each one, like it's said in this text, the aim of the people of guidance is definitely lofty, definitely confirmable by the heart spirit. But if the path they take doesn't give you any reassurance that they're correct. It makes you reject them, actually, and it makes us question them and question even religion itself sometimes, maybe. Of course, not religion really, but makes you put into question so that you can really find out, or you know, really discern and then make sure. I don't think we here are suffering from rejecting religion, but some people do. But they're, as we always discuss here, they're not really rejecting religion. They're rejecting the wrong presentations of religion, the wrong model that's being presented. So I'm saying that sense perception or sense focus, which is the way of the people of misguidance, seemingly effective. We all seem to respect it. We all, at least what I see, we all try to adopt that. And the other ones, the seemingly religious people, their methods, we reject them because they don't carry any sense perception, nor do they, at the same time, nor do they offer any other effective, I don't want to say it's sense perception, but response to sense perception. So anyway, if I understand correctly, this topic is, I know, talking about an immediate remedy to sincerity, But if I understand correctly, this is also talking about the weakness in the people of guidance. The people of guidance are not doing their job, as it's discussed here, as sincerity, with sincerity, because the method in which they're doing their work does not address the needs and the understanding of the people that they are with. So it doesn't matter if they have high lofty goals. Although, of course, we respect the people with high lofty goals. No, I don't. We are, let's say, a little bit critical of them, but I feel we know still they're much better than the people who have no lofty goals. So anyway, so this is kind of what came to my mind. I'm sharing my thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Adam, for sharing those thoughts. Helped. So it's not enough to have the lofty goals, basically. So we have to take care of also the way we go and achieve that lofty goal. And I think in a few sentences above, the people of guidance kind of fall into that, immediate pleasure and benefit aspect of just ignoring maybe the feelings of the others and not realizing, based on, using their human qualities and just understanding what what the situation requires and how are you taking this journey. So being aware and conscious of that journey that one is going through. So that egoism kind of creeps into looking for that probably immediate benefit and pleasure and losing track of that right path. And that's, at least I'm thinking of what he means probably by the deficiency and excess is kind of the way how he's describing the attitude of the people of misguidance, where it's only maybe worldly material concern, and maybe even though I may have a lofty goal, I may just still be concerned of my immediate kind of benefit and see that, hey, I'm maybe lacking in this thing, so let me get more of these things in terms of accumulating for that instant pleasure, immediate benefit. Or maybe there's that excess on account of deficiency and excess, still again going into the same, not respecting whatever is given to me and just not giving the due rights to, let's say I have a lot of maybe plants or flowers, not respecting them, giving their recognition that they are there for me, for my benefit, for my pleasure, but they're given to me by someone and they have their rights of existence accordingly, just like I'm given my rights of existence. So that, I think that's what I would say, that's how I understood that, how that we have to be mindful and careful in our journey and look for that actual right path that we are meant to follow. And that is, again, for you want to add something?
Saying alhamdulillah, this is well, expressed out, because it seems that the deficiency part is really on my side if I'm not sincere to my human nature, which really pertains to my existence. So like we're saying, we can have all kinds of end goals, but if I don't know the real purpose of my existence, then I'm deficient in that regards. But I just want, just like the gift for the sake of it, just to exploit it, to get temporary pleasure from it, rather than utilizing it for a higher purpose. So deficiency would be in my sincerity towards creation and my existence in general. And the excess part would be in my extravagance, like you were saying, being wasteful or being selfish, that thing. So it goes hand in hand pretty much. Alhamdulillah, this clears the case for me here. That was great. Thank you. We have 3 more minutes, so let's see what can we try to squeeze in here.
Should we go to the cure?
Oh yeah, we should go to the cure. Yeah, let's just
Take
not
2 more
leave it
minutes.
for.
Yeah.
Okay, so the cure is, what's the cure? What's the cure, bro?
You can read it. You can read it.
The cure and remedy for this serious disease is to be proud of the company of all those traveling the path of truth. What does it mean to be proud of? Okay, people you're hanging out with. In accordance with the principles of love for God's sake. Okay, so the author explains that. So you're enjoying someone's company because of God's sake, as in you're connecting to your source of existence, to follow them and defer leadership to them. Oh yeah, that's interesting part. I had wondering about that one. To follow them and defer leadership to them, as in defer as in giving leadership to them. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And to
So
consider
preferring others rather than yourself.
Mm.
That's one of the principles this author kind of pointed out in one of the previous pages before. He said that always prefer others to yourself.
And to consider whoever is walking on God's path to be probably better than oneself, thereby breaking the ego and regaining sincerity. Interesting. Salvation is also to be had from that disease by knowing that an ounce of deeds performed by insincerity is preferable to a ton performed without sincerity, and by preferring the status of a follower to that of a leader, with all the danger and responsibility that it involves. Thus, sincerity is to be had, and one's duties of preparation for the hereafter may be correctly performed. The end. Say something?
So one point I think, so the cure and remedy, this is a disease, as, if we understand this egoism and just falling for the instant pleasure and not seeing what the right path and sticking to that lofty goal, or that, goal that finding the meaning and purpose in our existence. So if something distracts us from that, then we need to work on addressing that. So that can happen only with the principle of love for God's sake. So basically, again, tying to my affiliation, my relationship with my Lord. So it has to be for that absolute truth, right? So I have to watch out in my attitude. Am I doing it to please someone, or is it for the pleasure of actually fulfilling my purpose of existence, which is what constitutes the pleasure of my Lord. So that's an option. Either do it for someone, or do it for
your own sake,
for the purpose that I'm existing here in this world.
Yeah.
For that sake, which is how my Lord wants me to be. And then the next is basically, how you can break your ego, because what happens is in leadership, I want to be, hey, let me take care of, it happens that I want to be maybe the president or the leader of this group. I can claim that I hold the absolute truth much better. I can explain the absolute truth much better. So that kind of constitutes egoism. So that's why it is better to defer the leadership to others.
Doesn't give up. Defer means give.
Defer to give it to.
So if you're in a leadership,
unless somebody asks you,
Okay.
then But the principle is to prefer. But I'm sure other people can share in their thoughts also. But that kind of touches your ego, right? So it's like how in some certain orders in a particular path, they say, hey, start cleaning collecting the shoes and brushing them up, go and clean the toilets. It disciplines you and tells you, it kind of breaks your ego in a sense. So there are certain traditions that kind of break the ego in that way. But this is the point, that we have to walk in God's path, right? In the way we are meant to be, in terms of fulfilling how we are supposed to be.
So I know there's some kids here. I don't know how many of you have seen the Karate Kid. you know, when their sensei tells the kid to, you know, clean out the windows and everything. So I think this can be referred to as breaking the ego as well, where you're putting yourself in a position where you're experiencing all that to make you realize that, you know, it's, you know what I mean? Okay, so Ali Murmur has his hand up. Go ahead, please. Brother Ali, the mic is yours. Brother Ali, you're muted. We can't hear you. Your hand is up. Wait, can you guys hear me?
Okay, I could unmute myself now. Now, in a nutshell, for egoism, in order to understand what egoism is, or going into excess, or the other one was negligence, I could think of this very simple example for myself to understand the case. For example, I am holding the truth. Let's assume that I'm sure that this is the reality, truth. This is the truth. Well, all right. And there is another person there, needs the truth. Now, if I am egoistic, I will claim that I am going to convey the truth to this man. If I am not egoistic, I will say, anyone around me, among my friends, who can convey the truth, I should let him go ahead and convey the truth. Because what is the purpose? For the person who needs the truth to receive the truth. The purpose is not from me. If I say I should convey the message, I am egoistic. If I give the priority to others, I am acting for the sake of the truth, not for the sake of myself. So in order to get rid of this, not to fail in getting rid of egoism, I have to take my ego away, and I should focus on the person who needs the truth, must receive the truth, not necessarily from me, but I would prefer others to convey it to them. That is what getting rid of egoism is. The example of deficiency, the person needs the truth. Come on, let him find out himself. None of my business. Access in this matter only can make the truth reach the person who needs it. Both of them are deficiency and access, centers of egoistic attitude. If I get rid of the egoistic attitude, I will be on the right direction, because deficiency and excess are the deviations from the right direction. I think it's in my mind, it just summarized what the question was in the chat box. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I didn't really quite catch it, as in I didn't really take away. So I don't know.
So should I paraphrase it and try to see if that's what Brother Ali is saying? So if I claim to be the holder of the truth and I'm trying to guide someone, now is that with the idea that I have, is it that they should learn from me, or is it that it's for something that they can benefit from and it's not from me, coming from me? And one option is that there's already other people who they can get that understanding from, so there's excess, so I don't need to bother. Another is that let him find on his own the guidance. I don't need to play a role anymore.
Oh, okay.
Is that, I'm just trying to verify,
That
is
makes-
that the example?
So brotherly, that's for you. Was that the example that you gave? So pretty much what Asim summarized.
Yeah. I think what Asim summarized it in the best way. The purpose is not through me that the truth will reach the other people, but the point is, or the ultimate purpose is, the other people must receive the truth. Whoever it is from, it is not my concern. My concern is watch out, respect my friends, give the priority to them so that they will convey the truth. As long as the other person receives the truth, this is the fulfillment, accomplishment of the mission. That's it. That is the way to get rid of egoism. But if I insist that only the truth must reach the person only through me, that is excess. Qasim said beautifully, if I don't take notice of whatever is going on, I have my own truth. Alhamdulillah, I am happy with my life. I don't really care about other people. That is also a deviation from the truth. It means negligence. The true path is just look, watch out. If the truth is going to reach the purpose or not, it means reach the person who needs it or not. That is what I understood simply. Thank you. It is very late.
Alhamdulillah, thank you so much. That helps very much. All right, so we are at time because we started a little late. So that's about it for today. Inshallah, we will pick up from the cure and remedy.
We can do that, or maybe the fifth cause if people feel that it's all right.
Okay, so
We'll decide.
yeah, we'll decide. So whoever is moderating next week, inshallah, so pick up from the last paragraph or the fifth cause. So we'll improvise accordingly.
Maryam, shall we listen to Maryam's notes?
Yeah.
Sure, yes, we should listen to Maryam Ostermer. Let's listen to your notes, please.
We don't need to if we're over.
Well, we'll hang out here, inshallah, for a few. No worries.
Okay. My first note for the fourth clause was, wait just a second. Okay, so my first note was, I have a Lord who wants me to be a specific way so that I can fulfill the purpose of my creation. If you want to connect with your Creator, you have to do it in the right way. You have to be following the rules. Like when I said rules, I mean like the rules of the universe or the rules that our Creator put out for us. Sincerity requires two things at once. One, objective must be true. Two, the means of the objective must be true. Sincerity means to follow the right direction. What's important? What's important, the journey or the destination? The journey, because the journey is what leads you to the destination. You have to follow the right guide in order to reach the right target. Love for God's sake. See His love through your love for someone. If you say that you should convey the message of truth, you are egoistic. If you leave the opportunity to others, you want to convey the truth in His name. And that was my last note.
Mashallah, well said. Jazakallah khair for sharing these beautiful gems for us. Alrighty. Anyone else has any notes to share, anything to say? Feel free to do so. while people are applauding here, hearing Miriam's note, we'll see if anyone else wants to say something or share something. If not, then all right. Alhamdulillah. Thank you all for coming in on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, and for all your contributions and comments. Very helpful. Alhamdulillah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Glory be unto you. We have no knowledge save except that which you've taught us. Indeed, you are all knowledgeable, all wise. وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. Al-Fatiha.